I don't look homeless. Hey, everybody.
I don't know. We don't make that much.
Good morning, noon, evening, depending on where
live.
you're from. Yeah, I'm just starting the intro because I like to do the intro anyway after you do it.
That's kind of silly. Hey, everybody. Welcome to SoundUp Sound Off. This is Chris. This is Chris. His name's Sean. Sean, you got a new shirt today.
Nope. Got the shirt a while ago, but yeah.
That's the first time I've ever seen it.
You guys can buy these shirts online if you want to.
They
One
can?
day.
Nice. Brand.
So topics. Oh, live shows are great.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well,
CEO boss.
I was gonna just jump right into it.
Well, I thought you were gonna maybe introduce the show here.
Oh, I thought you did.
Well, I know, but you like reintroducing stuff, so I was gonna give you the opportunity.
This is Sound Up, Sound Off. We talk about things
And here we go.
with the sound
First
on.
topic.
Yeah. Worldwide Developer Conference. I was going to say WWDC, and I switched it.
It sounds like a wrestling.
Yeah, it does, actually. You watched part of it and fell asleep, but...
Hold on, you talking about the Apple one?
Yeah.
I did not fall asleep. I was eating lunch.
And
The new computer made me more hungry.
Cheese grater. You made a joke on Twitter, I think, this morning about the audience cheering every other sentence. I think the same thing. They're like, it's dark now. Everyone's like, yes! Whoa! That is... If you guys could all just do that. One time when I used to play music, one thing I did do when I used to play live, I remember I recorded a song. I told everybody I was recording. I was like, if you guys could just pretend this is like your favorite song and you really know who I am, that'd be great. And they all did it. And it was great. I feel like they plant people in the audience. I bet that they're Apple employees or they're like kids. They're like, here's $20. Make sure you cheer every time we talk.
I assumed that they had a sign like an old school game show, applause
And they just
now,
hold it up.
applaud now, yeah, or or people, whatever. I mean, it's Apple. I assumed it was an electronic sign, but like an old school like that, and just had them clap every time because it really got to the point where it's at the end of every sentence they would say, and we just changed the screen resolution. And like he would never end, but the applause would start. And like sometimes, what was the great? I can't remember the point. Oh my gosh! Yesterday, there was one point where it was some feature, and they said they were listing a bunch of features, but they said the first one, and there was like three people, and then they realized that no one else was clapping. And it was like, we weren't supposed to clap at that point, but there's only like three claps.
The one that got me was
What was
like,
that feature?
is like the keyboard comes up and now you can swipe, and everyone went insane. And I'm just like, that's been around for 10 years.
It did sound like they had some features there that they were highlighting in the talk.
Oh,
that I
that's
thought
what they do.
already existed
On Android
a lot
or
of times.
jailbroken iPhones. Like, there's a ton of features. There's a company that made this app called Flux. It made your phone turn yellow to get rid of the blue light. And a couple years ago, Apple just kind of stole that whole thing.
Yeah.
Like the way it worked and everything.
Yeah.
And now that company's probably out of business. But the features that's like, we invented this feature. It's like, well, Android did 5 years ago, actually.
Right.
Sometimes Android takes away too. But it is funny the way people, it's like, they're all stuck on Apple, and which we're sitting here with Apple products.
I'm stuck. Yeah, I mean,
But-
I'm not. It's not that I don't have anything against. I think it's the presenting side. It's not the technology, the features, that kind of stuff. I think everybody kind of is propaganda around their technology, their features, like what they think is new and great and grand. I think it's just the presentation and how. Wait. We both said this. How was it Samsung? Who's the conference that looks exactly like have redone it to look just like Apple? Like all these conferences look the same now. All these feature releases amongst companies.
Microsoft and
all have
Apple
the same look.
Microsoft and Apple both have always done them like this. So really, those two have always done.
I swear it was Samsung just a couple months ago.
Or was it Amazon? I don't think it was Samsung.
I thought there was a Samsung one, but anyway, they all just kind of look the same. It all
Samsung's
looks,
done them. Samsung got in trouble a couple years for the one they did too.
I'm expecting like a magic show, and it just ends up being disappointing. So
I actually think Samsung once literally had a magician. Like, I'm not even kidding. But was there anything that you saw that you thought was cool? Do you like that new $35,000 Mac Pro?
yeah, it made me hungry. I think it would look great in my kitchen. I think it really accents.
It'd go great with the trash can one
area.
from a couple years ago.
And it made me desire a nice Malbec or Merlot to really bring out the robustness.
There was a
of its
YouTube
features.
channel called like FTP Tech or something. FTP? FPT? Anyway, it's funny. He
couldn't review
he said that they basically instead of coming up with a design, they basically just looked at a cheese grater and said, let's base it off that instead of accidentally looking at a cheese grater. He thinks they started with a cheese grater and then worked their way from there.
I know. You sent me the video last
It literally, well, they hadn't seen it, but
Have you seen it?
they came out with a new monitor also that's like super high-powered 6K display that's $5,000 without a stand. It's $1,000 extra for the stand.
So what, I mean, like, is there an opportunity there where you would get it without the stand? Like, would you put it on the wall or something?
I assume a lot of like movie studios and offices, the people that would actually afford these things have mounts already, and they would just put it on the. I assume it's a universal mount. I could be wrong. It probably isn't, but anyway, there wasn't. I didn't think there was anything with iPhone in particular besides like dark mode. Dark mode to me looks too
iOS
busy.
13, right?
Yeah, a dark mode on things looks too busy to me sometimes.
Okay.
But there was that. There was like new emojis or something. Like, there really wasn't much.
The face emojis. Yeah, I saw part
Yeah.
of that. I was.
The biggest things were the iPad, where you can use a USB or Bluetooth mouse. You can plug in a USB stick now and actually get your files.
Okay.
Didn't know if you. I don't know if you don't have an
No,
iPad right now.
I
You
don't
used
have
to,
an
but
iPad. I used to have an iPad.
you couldn't plug in a USB stick and transfer video files or anything. Like, you had to use AirDrop or something. Now you can actually use it like that. That's one of the biggest reasons that
But why, if they did that to there, why not on here too?
Well, they split iPad OS into its own operating system now.
Yeah.
So they might have it on there too. You know, I find I've actually plugged in a memory thing into my Samsung phone a couple of times actually, because I had to take my computer to the store and I didn't have a way to move the data. I'm like, oh, I have 128 gigs on here, and I transferred it all to my phone.
Yeah.
And everything was good. So like that's a feature that if you're gonna have a laptop replacement and try to use an iPad, you have to have that and the mouse. And so they did that. Hopefully it actually works good.
Right.
So, and hopefully one thing that we're investigating right now too is to see what type of access they're giving us to maybe enable this. We're coming all the way around just to this, our audio recorder for our websites. So Android you can record, and desktop you can record audio on SoundUp Now, but Apple just blocks the, I believe is the Media Encoder API 2. Sorry for code
super
speak.
technical for
Yeah, but that's why you can't use the iPhone and record in the back end, is because Safari won't let you. And you can say, oh, I downloaded Chrome. Every browser on the iPhone is the same browser with a different skin on top of it, because they only have one WebKit, which is the actual foundation of their browsers. So you download all the different browsers you want. They're all going to work the same. Maybe
on iPhone.
Right, with iPhone. So I'm investigating that. I actually have the iPad updating to the new beta, so we'll see. Maybe we'll have an answer.
Is it still updating right now?
Yeah, I haven't got the finish.
Oh my gosh. Once we find that out, if it goes the way that we hope it goes, it could be huge.
Yeah. So speaking of huge, Amazon announced the Echo Show 5, which is a big screen Echo.
Tell us more.
Cancel. So they're making a bigger play on screens. Google has one that they have in the kitchen that has the recipes and does all that kind of stuff.
Oh, when you said that, I thought you were giving an analogy. Like
Facebook has theirs too. Do you?
Yeah, I don't think you heard me.
You know, I'll give an example. Adam, our developer, doesn't understand why they would go video and screen. I kind of agree a little bit that if you're going to do voice, don't make it voice and video. Then it's just becoming an iPad, basically. Like, what do you think about the screens and more screens on Alexa?
In my opinion, I think it's a blend. I think there's a element of inevitability that you do have to blend the two from a functionality standpoint. There's too many things that you're going to want to. What did you just do? That you want.
They can't see this yet.
That you're going to want to initiate via voice, but have recall that you can visually see. So, great example of this, or great, I don't know about great, but a good example of this, especially in home personal use, is I want to say, hey, show me the front door. And I just want to say that out loud real quick before you play a video over me talking. Is, show me the front door, and it shows me my ring, and it shows me the front door. Like, so I think there's going to be, interactiveness where I'm cooking and doing, and it's like, okay, I could say what's the next step in the recipe, but I might need to see something per se for food. I think there's a lot of integration that requires both. Yeah, if we want to be purist to the voice, I don't know if we can stay that way. There's too much overlap. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I kind of agree. This is actually the old show. Oops. I'm showing you guys the old one. What's it called?
I feel like every time you kind of try to overlay and like show people stuff, it doesn't ever goes exactly.
It's gonna be okay.
I don't think it goes perfect every time, or any of the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, look, there's the audio auto.
Look at that thing. It's crap. It says $89.
You changed your tune on it.
Somewhat. Oh wow, they made it $89. I didn't know that. That's actually really cheap.
Sounds like a good price, but this website looks very hokey.
It really does.
I really trust this. $89 for the Amazon Echo 5.
Here we go. Actually, Amazon's page. Oh, it's $89.
Interesting.
Buy two, save $30.
Okay, I thought it was bigger. It's compact. I'm sorry. I
so is it? Oh, so it's a 5.5-inch screen. So that's
small,
like the size of a phone.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's Amazon's phone.
So it's like sits next to the
really
desk.
made that little camera stand out, didn't they? Top right. Looks better in black.
Interesting. Yeah, because it hides it. Well, I mean, yeah, it sits by the desk. Oh, yeah, we're going to sit around our coffee table and talk to it. Oh, video chat. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, there it is. There's that.
I mean, yeah, hey, look at that. Show me the baby's room real quick. Like in the middle of the night, like I don't want to fumble, but I kind of want to know what's going on.
Or if you have the Ring doorbell, it'll show you. It'll pop up whenever there's motion.
Right.
So
I said that. That was my first example.
You said,
show me the front door with my Ring doorbell.
Welcome to SoundUp Sound Off, where I repeat things
Oh my
that Chris
gosh.
says. So, all right. So that's really all the tech news we have. We have a newsletter coming out today. If you're not part of it, one of the things we'll be talking about is a lot of people ask about auto tweeting their shows. We've made a Zapier Zap that lets you do that, just so that way we don't have to follow Twitter's API around, because I've had a few people ask about it. But definitely go and check that out. If you're not part of the newsletter, you can go to our site and sign up down at the bottom of the page. So let's go ahead and jump into the Alexa skill stumper. You had an idea yesterday for one, and you didn't tell me because I didn't want to know.
I think you mean last week, and yes.
Was it last week?
Yeah, because I think I said at the end of the show that
I've
had
been sick.
An industry idea. So he has been sick, so sorry about that. And he's hot, apparently, in a T-shirt.
I'm getting nervous. I'm nervous about this industry.
No, okay. So
it's going to make me deathly ill.
My son actually made a comment a couple weeks ago about putting an application for this job that was on Indeed, and I thought it was kind of hilarious since my son's like 16. Sorry, he's 16. And
you're old.
Anyway, so he the industry that we're going to talk about, I think this is right, is a mortician. How would a mortician use, this is our skill stumper segment, so custom skills, flash briefing skills, how an industry could use it. If you ever have industries, I'm giving him time to think. If you ever have industries that you want to submit to us that you don't know maybe how a custom Alexa skill or even a flash briefing might work within that industry, that's what this part of the show is for. That's what we're for, so you can do it anytime, but right now Sean's still trying to think.
No, so this is actually, I think, what I meant earlier when we were talking. When I had an industry, or Savannah, someone said graveyard.
Grave digger, which is what spawned the mortician.
But this is before the mortician part.
Yeah.
I mean, before the graveyard part, the mortician is. It's kind of the same thing. You could do daily updates on who's arrived at the facility and talk about them.
You don't think that's like borderline disrespectful?
Probably. You know what?
I mean, you're not interviewing, so...
You could talk about things like, I'm trying not to say really bad things, because I have some ideas that I don't feel like I should say here.
I don't know enough about the mortician industry and or funeral. Like, I don't know, like, if you're a mortician, do you own a funeral home too?
If you know you're like going to pass away soon, like other tips to preserve your body for a funeral, I don't know.
Do you sell, this is getting out of hand. Do you sell the gravestones as a mortician funeral home?
I know caskets cost a lot of money.
Caskets? Two
Oh.
separate things?
Oh.
Okay, I thought they worked like in conjunction. Like,
Look
know,
up-
like I have a fitness center, but I might have a physical therapist in my fitness center that's working there, or a chiropractor in my fitness center, but I have a fitness center. And they are two different things, but
You
they
said
work.
fitness center like 12 times in one sentence.
But my fitness center.
I don't like that I'm Googling
High
mortician
performance
right now.
fitness.
Google's
Shout
going to,
out.
I'm going to get some weird ads here soon. More,
You're going to be retarded. Pixeled so hard.
they made mortician exactly. An undertaker.
What? That's what I feel like they work in conjunction with funeral homes.
Funeral director, also known as an undertaker or mortician,
Wrong.
is a professional involved in the business of funeral rites. These
Yeah,
tasks
okay.
often entail the embalming and
That's okay. So
burial.
I think they do work in conjunction. We got bad information on the back. I think they do work in conjunction with funeral homes and stuff. So I think you could create a construct of, of working within the funeral industry. As far as maybe 2-for-1 casket deals, you could do, like
buy one get
specials.
one.
I think you could also give opportunities for people to maybe, like, if you're hosting a funeral home, like, connect and like send gifts, flowers. Like sometimes you can send it to the funeral home. I think there's a way that we could integrate some of the contact for people to like know where to send certain things for a loved one that's passed away, or like a family or friend. That could be a good
Tips on what to wear
use
to a
of custom
funeral?
skill. Yeah, flash briefing. I feel like funeral etiquette.
I don't know about a flash
great
briefing.
side-
I don't
great
know
side etiquette.
where are you going to get your daily content
you
from.
have a niche audience with
I
that.
don't know where the dailies. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm
No,
going to
weekly-
downsell you.
Okay.
Skill. Flash briefing though. What? Unless you're saying we welcome Betty and John today.
You're not downselling. A custom skill is a higher membership.
Never mind.
But wait, you're under the pretense that you have to do your flash briefing daily, which we've had this argument before. Daily versus weekly. I think you can't do it weekly in this scenario.
I think you run out of topics unless you're talking about who's
52?
coming in. Like today, we've got two blondes and a brunette.
You just can't. That's just so wrong. All right, what's your industry?
Oh.
We're ending it there.
I'm lost now.
I don't know what that YouTube video was, but man, you are gonna get some weird Facebook.
I'm hoping it just goes away and Google doesn't start showing me ads for caskets.
Maybe they.
I'm
Diane's gonna be like, "What is in?"
I'm probably getting an advertisement for a tech school that is you could be a whatever. I think they actually make pretty decent money too.
What, mortician?
Yeah.
No, I think they actually do.
No, yeah. Which one?
I said yeah.
Oh. All right, so
No, as in I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, as in I think they actually do.
did we already do the industry if we talked about like a brewery or a distillery?
I think we did, but we can talk about it again. Which one? They're two different things. Two different audiences too.
They are. I'm just knocking the microphone straight. It won't go the way I want it to.
Tiny chip.
Yeah, what about a brewery?
Okay, so we're going with beer brewery, which I did think we hit on this. So I think flash briefing.
I think we did distillery. Because there was one opening up down the road.
Yeah, 1233 shout out. Okay, so brewery I actually think is easier because I think your audience is larger. We have a couple local breweries, obviously in North Carolina, a lot in North Carolina, South Carolina, the one in Charleston that we like, Palmetto Brewery, shout out to them as well. If you guys want a custom skill, we'll hook you up with a free beer tour. I think with a flash briefing, I think there's a lot of podcasts and audio out there around beers. I think there's a large enough audience that you could really create kind of a beer show. Whether you're reviewing or talking about,
Call it leader.
you could talk about. Don't get me started on that. You could develop.
Just make sure you got a good intro.
You could shut up. Oh my gosh, I'm so mad. You're lucky I integrated.
Hashtag inside
You're
joke.
lucky I integrated pint into happy hour for Fridays. If you check out our Friday show,
No intro.
through SoundUp. Anyway. I think you could talk about the craft brewing process. I think you could talk about craft beer. I think you could really do the local events and where you're going to be at, because a lot of smaller breweries are at a ton of local events. So you could become kind of a hub for that, where to find your craft, where to find your beer in your flash briefing segment, and kind of intermix and intermingle some of those as well for like the more super beer, loyalists and enthusiasts to just the general like around town becoming the local event and local expert that gives you brand behind your beer. As far as a custom skill, I mean, gosh, if you could place orders for direct to consumer beer, I think that would be kind of cool. I know you got to deal with some of the over 21, making sure that's all legal and legit, but they're starting to do that more online, I think, with alcohol. Moving into, I think you could create a very interactive story. I think you could I was thinking about our story skillet. Like, what if you also kind of had like you could go one of two ways. You could get kind of super safety with this, like create a story of like how to not overconsume or like a beer journey, or you could get really creative and have a fun beer journey like around the country and use the story skillet to branch off and have some different stories with that. That would be kind of fun as well.
That's a very interesting idea. I had some thoughts, but I'm gonna keep them to myself right now.
No, but we've.
Oh no, I was just thinking about like
those are very interesting thoughts. I love it.
I can't.
Right,
I can't say. I can't say what I was gonna say, but I agree with all of that, and maybe even talking about like the coastal beverage place. Like they're not a brewery, but like just that type of place. Every day I have the app, and they're getting new beers like every day.
I think if you have a brewery or some sort or like that, like a beverage company where you're highlighting and displaying unique beverages and beers and that kind of stuff on tap, like Coastal does, you should have a podcast, broadcast it from your place, like weekly, consistently for the skill. This can be heard through your skill because we have the integration with our podcast in there. Yeah, drinking beer on air. I think you'd have a ton of audience. If you have, I think a lot of people that I've met in those situations usually have a personality for it, so that they could really do podcasts.
You're right. A lot of brewmasters always have like a pretty good personality for video.
I think, yeah. I mean, video, audio. I think it sounds. I think it's really cool.
We should travel around and videotape some of these places. There's some really neat ones out there. So the other thing too is you could do tips on brewing at your home. Some people like to brew at home and stuff. So I would find it interesting to see the progress or hear the progress of someone that says, all right, this month we're going to create a new beer. And like they go through, they record the process of, all right, here's some of our flavors we're thinking about, and they kind of like the testing, like all that. I don't know, maybe someone has a YouTube channel already that does something like that, but an audio form would be interesting.
I think they could really kill it on a Q&A, like you said, for home brewing. Q&A of like how to get started with your home, own craft beverage. They could kill it in the custom skill Q&A skillet with really being able. We always have this debate, like what's a lager, what's an ale, what's the difference between a hazy IPA or a West Coast IPA, that kind of stuff. Like I think that would be
something really interesting to do too. Adam, who's commenting under the SoundUp flag, I don't think he realizes, he is is if you were to buy if you can buy Echoes in bulk for under $20 now, Echo Dots, like the original ones. If you had a different one set up at different stations and you let people do like the self tour where they usually wear like headphones or something, but you didn't have someone to give the tour and you could like go around and like ask it different questions.
Like actually at the brewery.
Yeah. That'd be an interesting, like, technological type thing.
If it was more like museum oriented, because like sometimes you go on those tours and they're very like like poignant. But if you could like walk around an area and ask questions about like, well, when did this brewery first open? Like or different things. I think that would be cool. I agree with you. Or you talked about like in-ear stuff. That makes sense.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to do a few years ago for zoos was create an app where you could walk around and tap the phone and it would pop up a video about the animal and stuff. It was more than the little card had, and I thought it would keep people interested and interactive. It could be done with AR. Why not do it with I know you are. Why not do it with audio? And in the same sense, you could with NFC tags do it in an audio form. I'm going to go off on diarrhea of the brain here, so I'm going to stop right there. But I have thoughts.
Lots you can do. So we want you to contact us if you're a brewery. We would love to visit you and help you get into the voice arena. Super excited for that. Yeah. Yes, Adam, you did comment on the wrong count.
But hey, if you make sure you guys check your spam mail for the junk mail. That's where it goes.
Check your spam mail.
Check it for the newsletter because our newsletter is not a newsletter. It's always trying to sell you something and be stupid. We actually have things in there.
We don't want to be stupid.
Yeah, we don't put funny GIFs. We do, but we actually put useful information in there, and we work on marketing tips every month to help you guys out.
Like our new marketing webinar that is next Wednesday, by the way.
Yes,
So
And
We're
that
gonna
is
try to do that
something
monthly.
we're also not going to sit here and sell things down your throat. It's not one of those types of webinars.
Oh, I thought you meant like we're not going to talk about it right now. But yeah, it's definitely not selling.
Right. Yeah. You're already a member. For some of you, if you're watching this publicly or not, but for the members, we're just trying to help you out. The other thing too is make sure if you're not and you are a member, join our private Facebook group because we have fun in there on Fridays. Speaking of beer, with our happy hour show.
Yep.
If you're not a member and you want to see what that looks like, become a member.
Join the
And
private group.
if anyone has suggestions on beer, wants to send us beer, our address is on the website or on Google. I'm just saying.
All right.
Tanya sent us cookies.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Sound Up, Sound Off. I'm going to go eat tacos.
That sounds good. I had sausage balls.